Hi guys, it's Beth. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm sharing this video on the day after Christmas, so I hope you all had a very wonderful Christmas. And it is time for my Smash That Small paper pad collab share. And this is a collaboration hosted by Deb Hawk's Crafty Cottage here on YouTube. And the purpose is to focus on using your paper pads that are smaller than 12 by 12. So each month I've been picking a new paper pad and trying to use it up. You don't have to use up the pad in like every month. You're just supposed to focus on that pad until you do use it up and then move on. But like I've tried to make it my goal to use up one like 6x6 or a smaller paper pad every month just to try and work through my stash. So you can't really tell, but this was the Have Faith pad by Echo Park, and I picked it up at Tuesday morning, I think earlier this spring. And I was originally going to focus on a little winter pad, but decided I wanted to kind of mix it up and do something non-Christmas or non-winter. So I chose this one, and I'm glad I did because I had a lot of fun with it. So what did I make? I made 25 A2 size cards, and I'll share those in a sec. And then with the scraps that I had left, I made some little embellishments. So this one is just kind of a little layered with circles and flower punches that I had left. I don't know why that, there we go. And then I also had some like flower punches, some out of cardstock and some out of patterned paper. And so I kind of layered them up and just created some little flower embellishments that I can use on something else, I'm sure. So as for the cards, I did use a lot of sketches to make it easier. This first one is Mojo Monday, number 378. And I made a couple of these. This was actually later on. These are kind of backwards, so this was towards the end. And I just took some strips that I had left, because when you take a 6x6 pad and cut it down to fit an A2 size card as a mat, depending on how you cut it, you usually come out with a 2-inch or just shy of 2-inch strip left over. So I took 4 of those and then just cut them into fishtails and kind of overlapped them. And on both of these, I ended up using cardstock. And this was pre-embossed, so it's kind of just got like a line embossing pattern in it. And then took some of the strip scraps that I had left to go all the way across, and then I ended up stamping Faith, and then I tried to create a little stamping scene with some of the stars also in that stamp set, but I didn't like how it ended up looking, so I ended up adding some clear stickles. I don't know if you'll be able to see those with my lighting tonight. Just added some clear stickles to help dress it up a little bit more, and then I also have stickles at the bottom of both. Next one is S&S sketch number 6. So this one just used up some rectangular size scraps, and again, perfect for your strips that are left over after cutting down your card mats. And again, backed it on that embossed paper. And then this was a sentiment that I had printed out from my silhouette a while back and had already had it colored up, and so I just pulled that out and used it on here, added some punched flowers and some white Nouveau drops, and then I do have scraps on the insides of all the cards as well. This is Operation Right Home number 221. Again, using up scrap pieces, and then this was cut from the paper pad cover. It didn't have like Echo Park on there anywhere. It didn't have the company name. It just had the pad name, so I thought that's actually a decent sentiment. So went ahead, fussy cut out that and just layered it up with the scraps. So there were a couple different sizes of cut aparts in this pad. There were some 1.5 by 2 inch cut aparts, and then some 1.5 by 1.5 inch cut aparts. So I pulled out this MFT sketch number 62 to use some of the rectangular size cut aparts. And in some cases I used the actual like image size, and then in some cases I turned it over so that it was the patterned, the regular patterned side. Just it depended on whether or not, the images made sense together. So this one I turned them over and used the back side. And actually this is one that I did last, and I think I turned them over because I had two of the same cut apart left. So I thought it was going to look weird, so I just turned it over to use the polka dot side. And this whole card is made, it's pieced together. So if you look at these, like this pattern, this floral piece here is all one piece. That's like 4 by 5.25. And then we have one piece for the strip, and then this rectangular here in the center is all one piece. And then I've got, this time I did 2 images with just the pattern in the center. So those 2 are exactly the same. This one, I used 2 pieces of the stripe paper and kind of pieced them together to look like one piece in the background. And I also used 2 smaller pieces of that little plaid pattern. But with this strip that goes across the center here, you have no idea that there's gaps from me piecing all those together. So I was able to eke out one more of that design. This is Freshly Made Sketches number 122. And these 2 are exactly the same. So here's the cut apart. In most cases, until the end when I was running out of cut aparts, I did try and use the cut apart as my sentiment. And so here I just used the same pattern. I added a fishtail up here just to bring in a little more color on that green, break up that green background a little bit. This is Operation Right Home sketch number 25. And it's another great one to use with scraps because you're using rectangles that are 1 3/4 by 2 inches. And what size are, yeah, so I was going to say, like, I didn't think mine were 1 3/4. I thought they were 2 or 1.5. So they are. So it calls for 1 3/4 inch rectangles, but I used skinnier ones. So here I used 2 images and then 2 of the pattern side. And I don't remember if these are actually images that I turned over. Well, I guess they'd have to be to have that pattern on the back, but. And then just pulled in a scrap strip down there at the bottom. And I did use the embossed cardstock for those as well. And this is like a little flower pattern embossing. So my staple sketch, Operation Right Home number 154, I had to use that one. Again, it's great for using scraps at the end, especially like if you have strips, as long as it's 1.5 inches wide and you can get 1.5 inches square out of them. So here I just used a combination of patterns, and then that's the embossed cardstock. There's a little stamped grouping that I created, and then added a flower, layered cardstock flower down here at the bottom. This one I didn't even add a flower, I just left it with a floral strip. Again, 3 pieces of pattern paper and 1 piece of the embossed cardstock. This one I used 3 images, and actually I don't remember if this one was an actual image or if I turned it over. There was a couple of the little 1.5 inch square cut aparts that were like just a pattern, like a floral pattern. So I thought those all looked good together. Next, this sketch does not have a name, but I will link it in the description box below. Again, great for using small scraps. So I went with 1.5 inch squares again, just because I was using cut aparts on most of these. So these 2 are exactly the same. Just used a patterned paper piece for that banner that goes behind the square. And then this was an accidental make of the sketch, because the next one I'm going to show you, it's very similar except for it's oriented differently. And so, but I was talking when I was making these and just went ahead and made another one of that sketch. So, which it's fine, but you can tell it's a thinner strip here with a fishtail, but again, it uses 4 squares, and again, I made mine 1.5 inch square so that I could use the cut aparts. So this is the one, this is how this last card should have looked. This is an ink-inspired sketch, and I think it's number 9. So you can see, like, had this been shifted and this moved down, it would have been this card. So that's basically what I did. I used the same pieces here and then just put the banner down towards the bottom instead of in the middle, and I did add 2 pieces, 2 little cardstock circle punches over there. Another one that used little squares. I was trying to find ways that I could use the square cut aparts. This is Stamp Explorations Challenge number 9 sketch. Again, went with 1.5 inch squares so I could use cut aparts, and then I think I did just trim down 2 other pattern pieces to be 1.5 inch so that I could have the same pattern in both corners there. And then use the embossed cardstock from my stash. This is Freshly Made Sketches number 197. So this was when I had like just 1 or 2 cut aparts left, and so I actually added 2 strips here to use them up, plus a piece of patterned paper for my card mat, 1 of the cut aparts, and then I added 3 little navy butterflies down here just to break up some of that pink stripes there towards the bottom. Operation Right Home sketch number 146. And this was not a cut apart. I think I turned it over. This was just a rectangle that I had and just decided to use it as a cut apart piece, but thought it needed more after I finished the card. So once I was actually done with the whole pad, I kind of came back through and used some of the scraps that I had left to create. I punched some flowers out of cardstock and then some tiny flowers out of patterned paper and just kind of created a little grouping there. And then this is a sketch from Robin's craft room and made 2 exactly the same. This was 1 cut apart, like it already had that pink framing around it, so I just used it as is, and then came back later on and added the pink. I had a bunch of scraps of this pink left, so I used a pink stripe down here and then added the fishtail up here just to kind of tie in the pink, and then I was trying to break up that stripe pattern just a little bit, and then I added some white Nouveau drops around the cut apart sentiment there. So like I said, I got 25 A2 size cards and then some little embellishments from the Have Faith 6x6 pad from Echo Park. And it doesn't say, oh, from 2018 is when this one was released. And I don't know if they have the exact same pad anymore, but I do know like they tend to have, it may have a different name, and may like have slightly different colors and images, but they usually always have like a faith pad out. So if that's something you're interested in, you can check that out with Echo Park. But I did finish off my pad, so come January, I am going to be part of the collaboration again in January. So come January, I will have a totally new pad that I've hopefully used up. So there is a list of collaborator links down in the description box below. So please be sure to go and check out how they used their pads this month. Everybody always has like really creative projects, so I love seeing what they've done with their pads. But I thank you guys so much for your time today. Thank you if you followed me along on this collaboration this year. It has been really fun. Thank you so much, Deb, for hosting this and allowing me to be a part of it, because it was a great way to focus on those smaller pads that I tend to forget about sometimes because I get so caught up in my 12x12 pad projects. But thank you guys so much. Again, hope you had a wonderful holiday, and I hope you find some time to have a crafty day.